What's going on, guys? This is another episode here of Nolan's Pod. It's been a lot going on in the sports world, so I have not been able to recap the Braves, but I'm going to do it today. I'm going to recap their last series, and hopefully, either next week, I'm going to hope to recap this series against the Astros too. But first, we're going to recap the series from this past weekend with the Marlins. Game one of the series, the Braves come in red hot. And starting this long road trip. We playing the Marlins, our division rivals. Obviously, we want to beat them. Ozzie Albies singles in the top of the first inning to start things off. Austin Riley doubles and drives into Ozzie. Ozzie scores from first. It's 1-0 Atlanta. Going ahead to the top of the fifth inning because this was a pitcher's duel for a while. Ozzie singles in the fifth inning again. Ozzie has a multi-hit game, 2-hit game. He singles in the fifth inning, and Orlando Arcia scores his 2-0. In the top of the seventh inning, Matt Olson walks. Orlando Arcia scores. Matt Olson walks with the bases loaded, so that's why Orlando Arcia was able to score. At that point, it's 3-0 Atlanta. Continuing in the top of the seventh inning, Marcell Ozuna singles. Ronald Acuna Jr. scores, and he also drives in Ozzie Albies and makes it 5-0 off of the 2-run single from a red-hot Marcell. Money Mike comes up in the top of the seventh inning. Also, he hits an infield single. Matt Olson scores his 6-0. Also, in the top of the seventh inning, Orlando Arcia gets an infield hit. Marcell scores his 7-0. Going to the ninth inning, top of the ninth, Marcell homers. It's 8-1. Obviously, the Marlins did end up scoring because they got an RBI single. But in the ninth inning, as I just mentioned, Marcell homer. It ended up being 8-1. The final score was 8-1. It was a pitcher's duel in this game. Mad Max, Max Fried had two bad starts to begin his season against the Phillies and against the Diamondbacks. They absolutely tormented the mess out of Max, and he was horrible his first two starts. This start, he was much better. That was the Max that we know and love. He pitched 6.1 innings pitching that game. He only allowed 4 hits, only allowed 1 walk, only allowed the Marlins to score 1 run. He struck out for. Max was phenomenal. That's the Max that we know and love. That's the Max Fried that we're going to need with Spencer Strider being out for the rest of the year. Max, that was an ace performance that you pitched last Friday night. So all hats off to you, Max. Aaron Bummer, AJ Minter, Pierce Johnson came in the bullpen after Max did their thing as usual. It was a nice, easy Game 1 win. Game 2, we lose that game 5-1. Chris Sale pitched, and he pitched better than what his numbers might look like. Like I said, we ended up losing that game 5-1. Not really much to recap in that game. Obviously, what we want to do, we want to win the series. We just always want to win the series. So we lose Game 2. We win Game 1. Now we transition to Game 3. We're just trying to win the series. That's all we're trying to do. So, Game 3. Starting the top of the second inning. Adam Duvall hits a sacrifice fly. Matt Olson's able to score. It's 1-0. Going to the bottom of the second inning, Miami comes back. Brian De La Cruz hits a homer to left center. It's 1-1. The third inning, Ozzie Albies, he reaches on the infield single. Ronald Acuna Jr. scores on a throwing error. And it's 2-1 Atlanta. Everybody's able to move up a base. Everybody's able to score. Obviously, Ozzie's infield single was only supposed to be an infield single. Nobody was supposed to score, but because the Marlins threw it away, everybody's able to advance a base. Ronald Acuna Jr. is able to come around from second, going to third. He's just advancing. He's able to come around from third to score on the throwing error. 2-1 Atlanta. Also in the top of the third, Matt Olson singles. He drives in Ozzie Albies. It's 3-1. Going to the top of the fourth inning, Adam Duvall with a lefty on the mound. Of course, Adam Duvall is platooning for Jared Kelnick, lefty on the mound. Adam Duvall homers. It's 4-1 Atlanta. Also in the top of the fourth inning, Ronald Acuna Jr. singles in. He singles, and Money Mike scores. It's 5-1 Atlanta. Going to the bottom of the fourth inning, this is when we have a comfortable 5-1 lead. In the bottom of the fourth inning, Charlie Morton's on the mound. He's pitching great. You're like, okay, this should be another easy game like game one. Hold up, wait a minute. Jazz Chisholm Jr. starts off the fourth inning with a double. That scores Josh Bell. It's 5-2 Marlins. Brian De La Cruz singles in the fourth inning, bottom of the fourth inning. Jazz Chisholm Jr. scores his 5-3 Marlins. Luis Arias grounds into a double play, but Brujan's able to score off of that, so it's 5-4 Marlins. Going to the bottom of the sixth inning, Jesus Sanchez singles and Emmanuel Rivera. It's 5-5 Miami. Nick Gordon comes up in the bottom of the sixth, and he hits a 2-run home run. I was suddenly 2-run home run. The Marlins lead 7-5, and we're like, oh crap, here we go. We thought we had an easy game. Charlie was cruising, and then in that bottom of the fourth inning, he just caved in and started allowing hits to the Marlins and started allowing the Marlins to get some RBIs and drive in a few runs. So by the time on the bottom of the sixth inning, Nick Gordon hits that 2-run homer. It's 7-5. We're down to. Going to the top of the seventh inning, Marcell Ozuna, he stays red hot and he doubles. That drives in Austin Riley. We cut the lead to 6-7. Top of the ninth inning, the count is 2-2 with 2 outs. Our last inning, we're down to our last strike. 2-2 count. Marcell Ozuna's up, former Miami Marlin. He absolutely kills the Marlins in his career. Marcel's up. He hits a 3-run home run to dead center. It's 9-7. Marcell stays hot. He saves us. You cannot do any better than what you did there, Marcell. You saved us. You absolutely saved us. We win the game 9-7. We come back after having a 5-1 lead. Go from having a 5-1 lead to being down 5-7. We're able to come back and win 9-7. If it wasn't for you, Marcell, we would have lost that series against a team that we should have beat that's under 500. So hats off to you, Marcell, for doing what you're doing. Marcell Ozuna is on fire. He is red hot. He actually has a 15-game hitting streak going on. He is red hot, and he is a big reason why we are at where we are at right now, currently. Transitioning over to the WNBA. We just had the WNBA draft this year. Just past Monday, we had the draft. This was probably a draft for the ages, especially the first round. The first round, a lot of girls that you might know and love from college basketball went. First, we started with number 1 pick. Indiana Fever got the number 1 pick, so obviously it was no secret to anybody in the world if you watch sports at all or if you watch basketball at all. It was no secret to anybody in the world that the Indiana Fever had that number 1 pick and that they were going to pick Miss Caitlin Clark from Iowa. Caitlin Clark had great success in her season in Iowa. She deserved all her flowers, all her love. The hats off go to Caitlin Clark. She's a phenomenal young lady. She gets out there and she puts in the work. And obviously, when you get out there and you put in the work, hard work's gonna always pay off, no matter what you're doing. That's exactly what she did. So her being the number 1 pick and her doing what she did in college, that wasn't a given. She deserved that because she put in the work. She went to Indiana Fever, the number 1 pick. You can't say enough about what Caitlin Clark did this past year with Iowa, with this being her last year in college. Obviously, last year she put herself on the map. She was coming last year. She put herself in. She like, look, I'm good. I was good last year. I'm gonna take it a step further this year. And that's exactly what she did. The only thing that she's missing from her college career is a championship. Obviously, unfortunately for Miss Caitlin Clark and the rest of her teammates, unfortunately, she ran into a well-coached South Carolina team coached by Don Staley. That's the only thing that was stopping her. I think if Caitlin would have played against any other team other than South Carolina in the national championship game, I think she goes ahead and wins her first national championship. Obviously, that did not happen, unfortunately. But, hey, Caitlin, you put women's college basketball on the map. Women's college basketball this year was better than the men's college basketball because of you, Caitlin Clark. So, and she already knows that. Obviously, a million people have already told her that. Woo, man, she's a phenomenal player. It's not, you cannot say enough about her. You really cannot say enough about her. And then not only her, you have the other girls in this draft that carried the sport too. Number 2 pick, the LA Sparks. They picked Cameron Brink out of Stanford, the big forward. She's a tall, lengthy girl. She's gonna dominate the paint as she should. She carried Stanford a long way. Obviously, they couldn't get to the championship game, but she was able to carry Stanford a long way. Cameron Brink was one of the ones she was talked about, but she wasn't talked about. In my opinion, she should have been talked about more because she can dominate the paint. She's going to play defense. She's going to go down there and block shots. She's going to go down and get a double-double every night. I mean, that's what she's going to do. So, hats off to Miss Cameron Brink for going number 2. Well-deserved. Number 3, the Chicago Sky picked big center Camila Cardoso. We know about Miss Cardoso. All you got to do is just throw the ball to her down in the paint. Half the players that's always defending her are not even nowhere near her size. So all she has to do is catch the ball, turn, shoot. She good. She got it. She already has the height advantage. She's going to rebound. She's going to impact shots on the defensive end. You're not really going to be able to get a shot up against her, or she's going to probably smack it into the 5th row. So she has the height advantage. Like Cameron Brink, they both have the height advantage. Camila Cardoso was obviously well coached and just came off a national championship about 2 weeks ago, and then turned around a week later and gets drafted. She was coached at South Carolina by Miss Coach Don Staley, well coached. So that's real good. And she got drafted 3rd, number 3. She got drafted 3rd. So that is phenomenal. I actually didn't know that Camila Cardoso is from Brazil. She's from Brazil. I learned that the other night when I was watching the draft. I see that she had an accent, and I'm like, I wonder where she's from. And she's from Brazil. So, and she brought her family over to the U.S. to make a better life for them. And look what she did. Hats off to her, because you never know these players' stories beyond basketball. That's the cool part about all of this in sports. Every player has a story. Every player's story is not the same. So, with Camila Cardoso being from Brazil, she wanted to bring her family a better life. She started playing basketball. She went to a great college. She thrived in college. She just got drafted in the WNBA. I know she's going to have a good WNBA career, especially when I reveal to you guys who her new teammate is. Number 4, the Los Angeles Sparks also had another pick after they selected Cameron Brink. They got guard Rakia Jackson from Tennessee. I heard that Rakia Jackson came out of Tennessee and that she can fill it up. She's a bucket getter. That's something that the LA Sparks could use, a bucket getter. They could use a bucket getter. I didn't watch her a lot. I didn't watch her at all in college, but from the few little highlights that I've seen of her, she can fill up the basket. Number 6 pick, Aaliyah Edwards gets drafted to the Washington Mystics. Aaliyah Edwards is coming out of UConn, so you know Aaliyah Edwards coming out of UConn. She was in a great program. She was in a good program with UConn. Gino Auriemma, he's coached for like 25 years, so you know she was in a good program coached by Coach Auriemma. And she also just faced Caitlin Clark when they played Iowa in the championship game. Not the championship game, but the what do you call it? Conference final. Conference final, yeah. the conference final. Obviously, that's the last game. That's the final four, I should say, to get to the championship game. She played Iowa, and Iowa obviously beat UConn. But Aaliyah Edwards is doing her thing, much like the other two girls, Cameron Brink, Camila Cardoso. You throw it down to Aaliyah Edwards in the paint, and she's going to do her thing. And she also has a little mid-range game. She has a mid-range game. You throw it to her down on the mid-range, she's going to put it in. She's going to shoot that little jumper, and she's going to put it in more times than not. The Washington Mystics, they needed a tall girl to bang down there in the low post and shoot some mid-range shots and go rebound and go block some shots. Washington, they needed a girl like that. That was a good pick. They needed a young lady like that, I should say, excuse me. The number 7 pick went to the Chicago Sky. Obviously, Chicago drafted Camila Cardoso. The number 7 pick went to Miss Angel Reese. We all know about Angel. She blew up because she was with LSU. And last year, she dominated. She dominated last year. He knows that she's going to get her like 18 points a game, about 14 rebounds. She's going to have like 2 block shots per game. She's going to make a huge impact. And she was a leader on that LSU team, by far a leader. She had a lot of off the court stuff go on that, you know what I'm saying, it kind of diminished her name. It made her look bad. The media tried to make the coach look bad. The media tried to make her look bad. But she like, no, y'all not going to do that to me. I'm still going to be who I am. I'm still going to be the leader that I am. Y'all not finna sit up here and tarnish my name. She just won the national championship last year, and she had to get through Iowa and Caitlin Clark last year to do it. And when she did it, she did let Caitlin Clark know about it. So I'm very, 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 very thrilled to see Miss Angel Reese get drafted because she deserved that. And she's going to play with Camila Cardoso. When they had their battles, South Carolina against LSU, Camila Cardoso and Angel Reese, you used to see that they used to talk trash to each other all the time. You've seen it. Time and time again. They used to talk crap to each other. Now they're joining forces and they're going to be a teammate. And Angel Reese told ESPN reporter Holly Rowe, ain't nobody going to be able to get a rebound on us because those two girls are tall. Nobody's going to be able to get a rebound against them. Nobody's even going to be able to get a shot up against Camila Cardoso or Angel Reese because they're big, tall girls. No, good luck. Good luck getting the shot up against them. Good luck rebounding against them. Don't try those girls. Is all I got to say to the opposing teams. Don't try those girls because it's not going to end good for y'all. It's not going to end good for the opposition at all. That's all I'm saying. The Las Vegas Aces selected Kate Martin, who was a teammate at Iowa with Miss Caitlin Clark. Kate Martin gets drafted. They say that she was just there for support. She wasn't expecting to get drafted. Obviously, you don't go to the draft and you don't expect to get drafted. That does not happen. Kate Martin knew she was going to get drafted. It was a nice gesture for her to be there for her teammate, but she did know that she was going to get drafted. Congratulations to Kate Martin for getting drafted. Obviously, watching Caitlin Clark, you have to watch her too because they played on the same team. And do not give Kate Martin an open look for 3. She's going to knock it down. She's like Stephen Curry. If you give her an open look, it's going to be in the basket because she's going to knock it down. Congratulations to all the rest of the WNBA girls that got drafted. It was well deserved. Caitlin Clark just signed an 8-figure deal with Nike, and soon to be, she's getting a shoe deal with Nike. And you just signed an 8-figure deal with Nike. Come on, Caitlin Clark. Come on. You outdoing yourself. That is all good. No hate there whatsoever. That's all I have for you guys today. Remember to like, comment, and subscribe. And that's it.